as you can see, I already have one of mine done just because I want to make this process easier and I don't want to make this video too long. But I am using the palette that I'm holding by the balm, and I am using the shade Matte Lopez as a transition color. Obviously, I am going to be going with the cool tone shadow, so I just want to make the blending a easier process rather than, just blending, and of course, not letting it be harsh. Just because when you have a transition color, it's just way easier just for you to start, with that initiating process. With a smaller brush, I'm taking the Shadow by Makeup Geek and Sidekick, and I'm defining my crease even more. Obviously, the way the camera captured the pigmentation, it seems like I'm just blending the same shadow, but honestly, like an actual person, you can't tell the same. Like, you can tell the difference in between the shades. So basically, I'm just defining my crease, so when I do go in with the cool tone shade, I can see where exactly I need to blend upwards, and then define and separate the difference between my lid. And with the same brush, I am taking, like I said, a cool shade tone shadow. And I'm going to do like a halo. Basically, I'm going to blend on the lid, but on the outer corners or inner and outer corner. And I'm just blending inwards towards the lid, like if I'm going to unite them. And then I'm going to blend over the crease, so in between. And I'm going to start light off because with cool tones, they can get really ugly super quick. So you want to build up the colors just to make sure that you're taking your time. And just like a black shadow, if you go in with so much black shadow, it can ruin your look so quick. So just make sure you take your time and you blend. Eventually, you will start seeing the difference. You will see how pigmented it will start looking, and the colors will eventually build up. So because it's a cool tone shade, I want to make sure that I'm using as lightly as I possibly can. And of course, you can always go in with as much shadow as you want. You don't necessarily have to go in super, intense smoky. You can leave it as it is, like right now. Or you can even add black or even more just to define it. But because I want this to be a very dramatic New Year's look, I'm going to go crazy. Of course, it wouldn't be me if I wouldn't do some dramatic stuff. Right here I'm using a flat shader brush with the Colourpop Shadow in So Quiche. I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's a taupey shadow with some purple flecks of glitter. And basically what I'm doing is just dabbing it, swiping it back and forth. It is going to be my base for my glitter, so it doesn't really matter. At that point, I thought I really needed to make sure you can tell the pigmentation, and I decided going with my finger. But then after I was like, not really. The glitter is what's going to stand out. And the glitter I'm going to be using is by Urban Decay. It's the heavy metal one. It's in, I believe, Moon Rock, the shade Moon Rock. And with this glitter, you have to be careful just because it can transfer easily over to your lid. And you might find difficulty trying to remove that just because you will have to redo the whole look. So with me, you're going to see right now that it's going to transfer over. And I just take my same blending brush and I try to blend it out. It'll get a little bit messy, but there's not a thing in makeup you can't adjust. And of course, I'm taking the same brush and I'm just blending back and forth any harshness that the glitter created. And I do decide to go in back in with the glitter, with the shadow, just to make sure I can get it as intense, as dramatic as I want. Now I'm taking this Mandy lashes in Style Goddess. I do have a discount code if you'd like to purchase them and save some money. Of course, we will both be winning. We're not taking an L here. And of course, I like to first start with applying my lashes at the very end and then compressing my lashes together with the tweezer on my fingers just to make sure the lashes blend. I mean, there's times where you have difficulties. No matter how much of a pro you are, you will always find it that you'll have difficult times with them. So don't get mad and just go ahead and adjust them. Like I said, there's not a thing in makeup that you can't adjust. And make sure you do compress your real lashes and false lashes and coat them before you even apply the false one. That way it's easier. So one, it looks very blended. Now I'm taking a primer, and I believe this one is by Smashbox, and I'm just blending it all over my face just to make sure that my pores are not visible. I think that's what I'm using, or probably a skin illuminizer. I will leave it in the description box of what I used. I definitely know I did mix foundations as well, and I did apply like a, let's see, I can't recall what it's called. It's by L'Oreal. It's a skin illuminizer primer. Anyways, go ahead and start blending your foundation. If you don't blend it, it can tend to look cakey. So my tip is just to always blend your foundation as much as you can. Because this is a dramatic look, I mean, of course, full face has to be beat and dramatic. I'm taking my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Medium. And of course, if there's fallout, don't worry, just because your concealer is going to clean it up. And I also like to clean my eyeshadow at the very end and make it like crispy sharp, because obviously if you were blending, it could have created a mess. And that's not a necessary process for me to explain. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone gets the hang of what a beauty blender is and what blending our concealer foundation is. So I'm just going to go ahead and just let it slide. So I always go and clean, obviously, my contour bronzer, or just any powder that I use to contour bronze with a translucent powder in the same damp beauty blender. That creates basically shadow of more defined cheeks. And of course, I like defined cheeks. And with the stippling brush, I am applying blush, and that one is by Too Faced. I'll leave the name down below in the description box, just along with everything else. And I'm trying to be as soft as I possibly can, just to make sure I don't have too much blush, too much eyeshadow, or too much here, there, and all over the place. I want to make sure I go light on something. And with the same shade that I use, obviously, and all over my crease, I'm taking it below under my lash line and blending it. And then I decided to go with the other brush that I was using previously and just blend all of that out. I did apply black eyeliner because, of course, it's a dramatic look, and I felt like I needed to incorporate some black in there. So this right here is my trick to make my nose appear more narrow. So with my finger ring, I just dab on highlight, and then I also blend it back and forth, downwards and upwards, and that will make my nose look even more narrow than what it is with my contour. And of course I am going to be applying it on my cheekbones, just because if it wouldn't be New Year's look if I didn't have that pop and highlight. And I'm also just going to go ahead and really pray, but spray my Mario Badescu rose water. And to finalize, I am applying the Kylie Cosmetics gloss in Literally, and it's just the perfect nude to go with this intense dark smoky eye.